Hey folks, welcome back to Cannock Paranormal. I hope you're well. Big thank you to anyone that has subscribed over the last month. Unfortunately, I've been really busy with work and I've been doing lots of overtime to try and make some money to pay those bills. It's that funny time of year, May is. It always creeps up on me and I always think I'm going to be doing lots of reactions and including doing lots of paranormal videos. And what inevitably happens is I suddenly realise that I need to pay a lot of bills. So I have to kind of pull out all the stops. So that said, we did actually get out for an investigation in late April, I think. And it was at a relatively new location. It's called Kingsley Wood Road. And I'll show you actually on a map once I start the video proper. Whereabouts it is. I always pin a map to the beginning of most of the videos I put out on Cannock Paranormal channel. So let me think. So yeah, what was the rationale for us going there? I think it was a local news story about residents hearing strange noises coming from the fields and maybe the forests around. I don't have the story up in front of me, but essentially that was it. Some neighbours were saying that they've lived there for X amount of years and then never heard anything, but other neighbours were saying that they've heard strange noises. I'm sure one was saying it was a girl laughing or crying or whatever. But because they live right next to Cannock, you would assume that they're used to hearing noises of deer and owls and any other little critter or creature that's like scampering around into different seasons as well. I mean, there's like rutting season, mating season with deer, and again, different sets of noises. But for sure, the residents had reported hearing noises that they weren't accustomed to hearing, and that's what made this quite interesting. And also, it kind of gave us a backdoor to other areas as well. So it was an interesting location and it was one that I was really keen to get to. As always, I do a lot of research on where is safe to park. In this day and age, you really need to kind of look after your vehicles and stuff when you go to these places. You don't know who's lurking about, opportunists and stuff like that. You don't want to come back and find out half your car's missing or the whole car's missing. Probably better to have a whole car missing than just half a car. So much of that going on, but so yeah, we found a perfect parking spot, to be honest, and I think on this particular investigation there was 4 of us only, and that's great really, because it's not really an investigation, it's more of a recce. And since then I can tell you that during, I think it was May the 27th, probably one of the most gorgeous evenings ever, we went back, but there was just the 2 of us this time, and I did another kind of solo recce by myself. We would leave one person at the car, and that person is basically keeping in touch with me. So if they see anything, they hear anything, or I hear anything, then we can kind of figure out whereabouts it could be. But it's a bit of a risk going out by yourself, and yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull a video up and maybe just watch it with you guys, and we'll see what we can see or hear what we can hear. Hopefully the microphone's working as well. And I will say one other thing. I'd recently bought 2 new torches. One really powerful white light torch, and the other torch was a green light, which was actually been really effective. I didn't know how powerful that would be, but it's really effective. And I did a bit of reading that green light or red light doesn't really register too much with animals, so it doesn't really startle animals as much as a white light would. So it's a good way of illuminating an area without maybe triggering whatever creatures there are in that area to kind of like run away or move very fast. You really want to kind of be able to capture and observe what's going on rather than frighten the bejesus out of anything that's in there. And the same would go for any kind of anything paranormal or maybe cryptid wise. Last thing I want to do is like blind something in the eyes and it just moves out of sight and you never get to see anything. And I kind of still amuse myself by using the word cryptid because ultimately I've never actually seen anything down there. We've had probably two instances, one where there was continuous growling, and that could well have been a big cat. And then the other instance was when I was on my own, and something was crunching, like stomping back. Like it's almost like they were swaying from one foot to the other for about 3 seconds. And that was brilliant because at that time I had my meter on the ground, and I swiveled around, and I it's weird. I mean, we're all born with a sixth sense. We know instinctively if something's there or if it isn't. And as much as we can have imagination, we don't always need to, I wouldn't say embellish, but we don't always need to imagine something. We need to, sometimes it's worth just relying on our natural innate senses. And on that one occasion, I think it's 19th of July 2019, so 4 years ago, I let the rest of the guys went on. I stayed there, put my meter on the ground. That's a trifield meter. I heard this swaying, stomping on brush and twigs. It sounded like something quite heavy, treading back and forth. And when I turned around, I hand on my heart, I was looking at just basically the edge of a forest. But till this day, I swear I was staring at something that wasn't there. And that sounds like really daft to say that, but it was almost like something was there looking at me. I was looking at that, looking at where it would be, but it was just invisible. And no sooner was I stood there staring at it, then all of a sudden the trifield meter started to go a little bit crazy on the ground. So I turned around, and I kind of like flipped into sort of like paranormal mode where I said, thank you, can you do that again? And the meter then, it went a little bit crazy again. So I don't know whether there was a presence, like a physically cloaked presence by me, or whether it was something completely paranormal. But yeah, I kind of feel that because that evening something was knocking around. It could have been, I think we called it a skinwalker, because a lot of other stuff happened that night. One of the most active evenings I've probably ever experienced in my life. It was crazy. So anyway, enough rabbiting. I'm going to see if I can get this video up and we'll watch it together. And I'm sorry, it's pretty much shaky cam because we're on the move, and I think it was just getting dark and unfamiliar terrain, so we're kind of walking about, looking at things. So I do apologise. So I just want to explain actually where we were. So this is Kingsley Wood Road, and where the little pointer is, that's circling where we were parked. Brilliant place to park, absolutely brilliant. And so one of us stayed by the car where the little blue dot is, and we kind of basically walked down in, and there's a small like cadets army training place there for cadets. So we walked past that. That was quite interesting. Forest on that side there. We walked down, and and then it shows us kind of walking back up. So it's a bit of a hill there. I think it's probably about 10 meters incline back up. Came back down and back. So we were gone about 2 hours. But yeah, I did make a small video along the way. So the interesting thing about this location is, just to explain, is that if you kind of go this way, you're heading towards Birches Valley, and if you come down to here, you are basically on the lower German cemetery. So it was pretty fantastic. It was a pretty fantastic area. Very, very interesting. I think previous to this, I have walked around this area and down. So yeah, that's where we're parked. If you're wondering what the little blue area is, I'll tell you now before the end of the video that this, while we were out, I think about, let me think, possibly about this area, or maybe coming back, so maybe about this area, we got a call and from a friend, and she said that around about this vicinity was growling, and this is really interesting. So anyway, I'm going to play the video because I can't wait to actually see what I've recorded here. Hopefully it's starting. Just I'll catch you guys up. I'm just going to do a quick little video for alright folks, so we are on Cannock Chase. We've just gone past a military cadet base, which is interesting. I never knew that existed, and we are now somewhere between Birches Valley and the German cemetery, lower German cemetery. We're just going up this bloody big hill with two very fit people, my friends, into a very, very dark wood. So this is going to be really, really interesting. Just see if I can eliminate these. Yep, so this is where we are. Not looking out for anything particular to find up here, but it's often the case when you're not looking for something, it's when something finds you. So recording? Yeah.
We'll hold that thought. Don't look at edit anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, if you didn't, it would probably save me a lot of time.
Okay.
And oh, you can see why they use this for hunting. Not in the UK. faint. Hi Marty, over. We're just going up the hill now, so I think we'll probably come round in a square. I don't know if you can hear me. Might be a bit crackly up here.
I can hear you loud and clear. Over.
Oh, excellent, over. Yeah, no, it's good. It might sound closer than it actually is. Hey Marty, how far would you say those vehicles are from you?
Which vehicles are?
The ones making all the noise and backfiring.
That'll be Hensford Raceway. It's about 2 miles away.
I got you there. Shall we,
I think they're doing drifting. Over.
Yeah, it does sound like the same vehicles coming back and forth, so you're probably right.
Just looked on the Google Maps, and Hensford Raceway is not that far away, so that's where they're doing their drifting. Over.
Yeah, that makes sense, Marty, over. We're going to investigate, or?
Watch me get us lost.
So we're just heading to, there's like a light ahead of us, which is natural light, but it could be something that's coming from water, so we're just going to investigate to see where we are, and definitely going to have to map all of this and get back home. Just going to watch these trees though, they'll take your eyes out, some of these branches. God, it's a tree. It did seem quite light actually when it may have just been the skyline coming through the trees, but
yeah, it's just really disorientating, that, isn't it?
I feel about it, isn't it? This place.
It's weird. I don't know what it is. It's just really strange.
Shall we go and just see what's if there's any route out of there?
We're still looking for this lake, are we?
Watch your eyes on these benches, guys. My manager said the other way that she was off for a week in a cabin in the woods. I said hello. I said that's how it starts. Make sure you head down there a bit and see if there's another path that veers off. See if we can map the area a bit. It's almost like a proper road. Oh right.
Jo, faktiskt lite popcorn.
Did you want to go and have a quick look?
Body, don't say body like that in a place like this, though. At this time of night. Don't sit nice with me.
Body in the water.
Yeah. Is that what you meant to say? Not body of water, body in the water.
Oh look, we found Lee Brickley. Oh God, I'll edit that now.
Right, nice. Oh well. There's the water.
See all these, you see like a light flash.
Oh yeah, like a pond.
That's down there. And
Yeah.
like a large
Yeah.
body of water. Yeah.
There's large water. Maybe that's body in it. And there's a serial killer van up the top there. I've been watching too many of these programmes today. And that's what it is.
Well, that's where you see the place where, well, not far from here, where Raymond Leslie Morris.
Yeah. Yeah, I read about that.
It always intrigues me because I tend to watch these like ice cold killer programs late at night.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how they catch the people.
Yeah.
After they've sort of gone through everything, they've gone through loads of people, and it's just one thing that gives them away. They caught Raymond Leslie Morris because he pronounced Carlmore Green as Caldmore Green as Carlmore Green in Warsaw. So I knew he was local.
Yeah, you say. Always trip himself off. This is what I do, I'm just take notes. Sit with one eye open.
Oh, you don't know. Peaceful, isn't it? All the animals have gone to.
What's that? Oh, that's yours. Diamond. That traffic, isn't it? I'll try and get the parabolic microphone out and in between there. You can have a listen.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
You've got it. I've got a note. I know, but we'll just do it in between. That's all we can do. I don't think we're going to chat for a while.
Fucking constant. That's the problem.
Oh, that one.
one angry Bigfoot.
Could be about.
Might just be something reflecting.
No, it could just be a. That sign we saw. So I think this will be the one that's going to lead up. We go around a bit further along.
Yeah.
There'll be a right-hand turn. It will bring us back to where that gate was.
You want to continue down?
His car.
Should we continue down to see? Because if we come out and we just go through their nature reserve thing, I don't suppose it will. I mean, maybe if you're just careful to slip out.
I think that where we were parked, you've got that little footpath leading down. I think that comes down. That'll go down.
Yeah.
Gale, we're receiving, over.
Yeah, copy that, over.
It's getting spooky up here, over.
Okay, tell us more.
I'm hearing some undergrowth movement and something that's disturbing the birds.
Right, okay, yeah, well, we're sort of, we've kind of come into the square now. We're heading sort of back in a general direction, so we'll be with you soon.
Will do, over.
Okay.
And just remember, if it's 8 foot tall, covered in hair, and it's got red eyes, you're probably best get in your car.
I'll come and get us.
damn right.
Not more, but it's getting spooky. So it's getting spooky.
So we just got a call from Marty, back at the car, saying there's some spooky goings. That's how residents get. I just heard movement, to the right of me. Did you hear that?
Unfortunately, his fucking red fart deafened anything that wasn't possibly here.
Or attracted something? Yes, it will be, yes. I'll leave that in.
Had any spooky happening?
I think you're right, yeah, actually. Must be pretty long. You just got a bit about it in this area.
Yeah.
I think.
Odd, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not. It's like it's weird because Paul used to put you saying you go to an area and it starts to recognise you and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't recognise us. It comes to us.
Yeah.
And you feel that threat.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember I took a picture. I think it was around about maybe May, around about this time a few years back, and I'm sure somebody said it was. I'm sure somebody said it was Saturn. Definitely one of the two.
I know it's sometime recently there's just been a big event where you have 4 planets in the sky.
Oh yeah.
Venus, Jupiter, Mars, Saturn. And they're all visible.
I always find it amazing when you can see the moon about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. That's the road that leads down. To the right. This is the other side.
Yeah.
And that's where this other side of the shop.
Yeah.
Bring it across from there.
The passage you went down in the first place. Over.
Sorry, can you repeat that, Marty? Over.
Are you coming down the path you came down or you went off on? Because I've seen two torches coming my way. Over.
We're not close to there.
We're not too far away. I wouldn't say we're, you know, sort of. Yeah, I mean, was one of them like a green tint to it?
Yes. Over.
Yeah, maybe you can see our torch then flying around in the air. So we're not too far away.
Okay. Over.
Table.
I need to be around here, won't it? I think it's-
No, it wasn't our torches you saw, mate. You let her know.
Oh, Marty, Kim reckons it probably wasn't our torches you saw, as which turns out we're actually a bit too far away at the moment.
I've seen torches from the way you set off earlier, plus from the other side of the campsite. Over.
Ah, okay, it's interesting over. Wasn't that gate closed before? No, it's a different gate, yeah, that's it. I could get lost in my own garden, I could. Oh, do you hear that there? A little something underfoot.
Is that you with the green torch coming up the path?
Yeah, that's us.
It was you then, I think. Over.
So guys, just to clarify, as we were walking back, couple of things. Marty saw two torches, could have been us across the fields possibly, and the other thing was I think it was when we were halfway sort of between those 2 points, Marty heard a growl coming from this area. Unfortunately, you don't pick it up on this recording that it's described as a growl, but definitely after we returned, it was described as growl. Now, things got a little bit more interesting. So after we met up at the car, I think The other pair disappeared off down here. They probably came over here at some point. I sort of stopped about there, and I was basically my night cam. All of a sudden, the battery died, and then it refused to record. So I put that down on the ground about there, and I started recording just with my mobile phone, using the green light. I thought it looked pretty cool. So yeah, so my cam's packed up for reason I don't know why. It was quite a mild night, so my cam should have been working fine, but it refused to record. The battery light was showing it was like blinking on and off. Put the camera down, got my phone out, started recording with that, and I was talking for about 5 minutes, I suppose, and then the others came back and we all met up there, walked back to the car, and that was basically sort of the end of the evening. We've been out about 3 hours just to have a bit of a recce. On the way back home, I checked the images on my phone just to make sure that I got them, and there was the videos, there was pictures. And interesting, before we actually went back home, I put the camera back on, my night cam, and for some reason it came straight on. There was no problem with recording on it, and also the battery light was back up to, I think it was 2 bars, which was more than enough to keep it going. But yeah, ultimately, for some inexplicable reason, it stopped working there, and when I got back to the car, it started working again. So things got even stranger, and what happened was, like I said, I was checking my phone for the pictures and stuff and the videos. Everything was fine. I went to download them onto my laptop the next day, and literally the SD card said it was corrupted and it refused to work, which was really, really annoying. So I had quite a lot of other stuff on there, not necessarily related to paranormal, but in the space of 24 hours, my cam stopped working. The pictures and videos I had on my phone have just gone, corrupted. The whole SD card, never had that before. So yeah, that was a real mystery to me. But there's probably perfectly rational explanations for that. I can't really explain the night cam battery business because I've used that cam before. Once the battery goes down, that's pretty much it. It'll blink on and off a few times, and then it will just switch off. But in this case, it kind of did that, refused to record and switched off, and yeah, ultimately it worked fine when I got it back to the car. So, all right, folks. Well, that was quite interesting. Interesting little recce, and it gave me a chance to test out some of the new torches I've got. But I guess the real thing to take away from this was the interesting potential growl, and also the fact that I had some sort of electronic weirdness going on towards the end. Nothing really surprises me about Cannock Chase. I have to be quite honest, I haven't felt like we've had a real humdinger of an evening with paranormal down there for quite a while, but this is why we keep going back, is because you have to kind of keep investigating these places, observing, seeing what's going on, and ultimately, if down the line I come to the conclusion that, apart from maybe 1 or 2 instances, that the place isn't really that paranormal, that a lot of it's down to imagination or funny lighting and stuff, then that's kind of what I'll decide in the end. But it sure is an interesting place anyway, you know, with the military context as well, so close. And obviously, not too far away from the German cemetery, you have the military training for the First World War. And for anyone who knows a little bit about the history of Cannock, they will know that the author of the Lord of the Rings was based, I think it was Brockton, and which is just down the road from the German cemetery, and that was J.R.R. Tolkien, and I'm pretty sure that he kind of based some of his thoughts and ideas for places like Fangorn Forest on Cannock Chase, and so yeah, I mean historically it's a very mysterious place. I'm sure I heard something of the telling that when the Romans invaded, they wouldn't build on Cannock Chase, and I think the Romans were pagans, so that would maybe indicate again that there's something quite dark and magical about the place. And yeah, we had our theories a few years ago about there being, I think we spoke about like a sort of spirit and animal kind of god, Konumnos. I think that's like, there's one that's like a French name, then there's Herne the Hunter. And this was something which could possibly be akin to a shape-shifting sort of entity, something that presents itself in different forms, and I think that was the essence with Herne the Hunter, was that I think it was one of those like gods of the forest sort of thing. I don't know too much about Herne the Hunter. It's something that I want to read up on, but the theories anyway was that we were faced with something that was quite old and dark, and I suppose had roots in Cannock Chase. It was like a guardian of the land rather than some sort of extraterrestrial influence, or just something demonic that had been stirred up by people visiting the area. Yeah, so there is that element that you feel that there is something quite old and ancient there. That's a supernatural force. Now, whether that accounts for various sightings of Dogman, of Bigfoot, of other cryptid type creatures, like maybe even alien big cats, although that's probably stretching a little bit too far, because it's quite feasible that there is a real big cat up there. But yeah, you do wonder whether the sightings of little girls and other kind of weird things are down to a perception of something that's shifting its shape to take on human or other kinds of forms. So it's still an interesting place. We did go back in May 27th. We did return, so it was about a month later, maybe 3 weeks. No, probably about a month later, and that was more of a lone recce by myself, as I said. So that's something I need to go through, and yes, see if anything's there. I mean, it was mainly daylight as well when we returned last time, which was 27th of May. So a lot of it's in daylight and a little bit in twilight. And that was about 10 o'clock, I'm sure it was. I was doing time checks actually with that. Anyway, I'm going to stop rabbiting, and it's nearly an hour long, and most of you will probably last about 5 minutes watching this before you get really bored or really, really dizzy that I'm sort of like flailing a camera around and stuff. So anyway, guys, till next time, take care of yourselves, and I really hope to be back with some more videos real soon. I have to go up to Sutton Park, which is it's a real kind of misnomer calling it Sutton Park. It's about 1/3 of the size of Cannock Chase, but it's one solid area, and it's easy. Again, it's one of those places it's easy to get into and not actually see anyone for an hour and a half or whatever, because it's there are areas of Sutton Park which people don't generally go, and I've had some really interesting experiences. And what I want to do actually in my next video is just to basically go to Sutton Park and re-walk some of the routes that I've been on where we've actually had some bizarre experiences back in the 80s and 70s. Okay, so that's about it. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you can last to the end. I'm really going to have to kind of work out a way of keeping that camera a bit more steady because it annoys me as well. So that's what I'm going to say. And if we can, you know, maybe be stationary somewhere for a while, then it's easier to record and hold everything together. So till next time, take care of yourselves, and I will speak to you and see you all soon.